Hello, Michał here. Ibby registers a journey to document every Ibanez guitar ever made. Subscribe to follow the adventures we have on the way. Last week I dropped a video of December news. I shot that video mid-December. I was very lazy with editing, so it ended up being on the last possible date. And just a couple hours after I published it, the news about the 2021 lineup dropped. I'm gonna focus on the solid body electric guitars because that's the area I know the best. We're gonna talk about basses, but if you're interested in me doing the same video about acoustic or hollow bodies, just let me know in the comments. This is the area I don't know very well, but if there's interest, I will research and make a video for you guys. Let's start with the EU. We have three new signature models. We have a Fireman 300. Fireman is a Paul Gilbert series. He switched from RGE body shape to this new body shape a few years ago. It's basically flipped Iceman, so I guess that's where the name is also, Fireman Iceman, with just another cutaway for the upper fret axis. And FRM 300 is a 3 mini humbucker configuration. The configuration I already played with his anniversary model 2-3 years ago. I like Iceman, I like purple. This is really nice. I think it's really cool. Then we have MM7, which is basically 7-string version of the MM1. Same color, same pickups, same kind of wood configuration, even the same Wilkinson bridge, just in the 7-string version. I think really cool. The MM1 was really nice AZ, really classy looking, and I think this is just perfect extension to that. And then we have PWM20, Paul Wagoner's signature model. This is basically S Series body, ash body stained white. I think it's pretty much the same as his previous model that was just stained like a black or dark gray. Looks really nice. I really like that grain wood on ash body. Looks really cool. Of course, depending on a unit you get, the wood grain will be different. I'm pretty sure they pick up a nicer one for the photo shoot. If you're buying online, check a dealer that photographs every guitar and pick one that you like. Because in those open, visible grain guitars, it can very much impact how the guitar looks. So it's important to buy guitars that inspire you to pick it up and be happy to pick it up. Okay, so let's check what's different on the US side of the signature series. We have one guitar more, and this is that PGMM 11, and I talked about it in July or something like that in the summer, and turns out in Europe it showed up earlier, was announced earlier, and now it's just happening to show up on the US market together with the 2021 lineup. It's a nice color configuration for the Paul Gilbert. It's copying his PGM 100 signature he did in 89 or 90. I spoke about it in the news in the summer, so check out the video. Okay, and let's go to RGs. Start with the European side. We have 5320C. C, I guess, stands for chrome hardware. 5000 is the highest tier of the Ibanez Prestige. They usually have high-end pickups, bare knuckles, Fishman, sometimes DiMarzio. This one has actually DiMarzios, but also stainless steel fret, low pro edge, top of the top in terms of Prestige. Only J Customs are higher, and usually more in a stylistic way and designed in the color is interesting because it says it's deep green forest metallic, but it looks blue on this photo. Metallic colors are notoriously hard to photograph, so maybe I actually have some greenish hue in real life, but it was very hard to photograph. And I think US also has that model. Yep, it's here. Then we have 5170, another 5000 series guitar. So this one has a gold hardware, Fishman pickups, stainless steel frets. It's a black guitar, HSH gold hardware. Looks really classy from the front, and HSH is classic Ibanez configuration. But then I saw this. This is kind of this weird uncovered binding. But this guitar doesn't have a top, so they uncovered only part of the wood. And this is basswood body, so not very interesting wood in terms of grain and so on. So I don't know, looks weird, this red doesn't fit anything on that guitar. And this one is also available in the US, so far so good. 5121 is the guitar that we had in previous year in the blue color, and this is just a new color, burgundy metallic flat. I think burgundy is a really nice color. I'm interested how it's gonna turn out in real life. Again, metallic colors, pretty hard to photograph, but it looks okay here. Double humbuckers, Fishman's. It's 5000 series, so probably stainless steel fret. Yep. Then we have 752 and 652 AHM, so basically ash body maple frets. They're purple guitars, they have ash body, so things I like. I think they look great. I like the 7-string version a bit more because it has a trem. Quickly checked the Ibanez wiki and some historical news. It was available also in green, blue burst between 2016 and 18, and that's a new color. And both of them are available also for US. So, and now we have RG6 PKAG. So I would say RG 6-string, T for premium, KA for koa top, and G for gold hardware. When I saw it, and I wasn't the only one, I was just like, that's Reb Beach model pretty much. Reb Beach was with Ibanez in the early 90s, and he had the Voyager model, which was basically like RG with this cutaway in the back. And his highest end models were basically like koa tops, gold hardware, EMG pickups, HSS configuration. And I think it's great, it's fantastic, looks spot on. You may have different opinions on EMGs, but I like EMGs. It's also available for US. We can also see that we skipped 2 models, that they're not new on Europe, but apparently 565 is released officially now in the US. I think somebody commented on one of the previous videos that you know, 565 is not yet in the US website, if it's gonna happen. So here's the answer. Seems like European dealers are like dripping news as they go, and US dealers prefer to like drop everything in one go at the beginning of the year, and that's maybe where those discrepancies come from so far. The next one is this Axion label RG61 ALF. Axion label is a line like iron label that's targeted at metal guitarists, but Axion label are like more like have modern features, modern pickups, and a few other things, so interesting colors, etc. So this is Fishman pickups, has Schaller S-Logs, has this flip-flop blue chameleon color, really cool. The only thing I kind of don't like visually about it is that, you know, it has the classic RG pickguard that has cutaway for the trem, and without the trem, just fixed Gibraltar bridge, it looks like it's, like there's this gap that doesn't make sense. Otherwise it looks class, and it has this multi-pieces open pore neck, and it's also available for the US, so no difference here. What else we got here? We have a 8-string guitar with Fishman's gold hardware, and it's also available for the US. So a lot of models with Fishman pickups this year. I think Ibanez was like in a shy way getting into Fishman's in recent years, and I think this year they went like full on with them. But it's 8-string guitar. I recently just jumped into 7-string realm, so 8-string feels a bit too much still for me. They're popular, and there's like a lot of music right now that uses the all 8 strings. I don't like how this guitar looks visually. You know, black with gold hardware is a really nice combination, but this white doesn't like work here for me. Maybe if there were gold, that would be too much gold. Maybe if they were black, it would like too much black, I don't know, but it's weird with those white pickups. Also wonder if Ibanez will ever do like 8 inline headstock for 8-string guitars. It's also available in the US, so no controversy here. And there's 3 RG200 AXZ, so Z for H0 tremolo, H02 because it's just regular Indonesian model. It looks like a solid metal guitar. Will be probably very popular because Ibanez fanboys like me will like to look at the prestige model and so on. But reality is like most people can afford like regular Indonesian models. Those end up to be the most popular models, and I think like, you know, black guitars always sell very well, so it's probably going to be a very popular model with solid specs, quantum Ibanez pickups, which are much better pickups than like power sounds that were in the 300 series when I bought my first Korean RG. And that's all for Europe for RG series, but there are a few models for US. We have this pink 421. I think in previous year there was like a green one available, exactly, in the green sparkle. It's also available in Europe, but the pink one is only from the US market. 421 PB. I saw guitars with that finish, but I think not this particular guitar. because the one I saw had those monorail bridges. So there's very similar model for European market from premium series, was 1121 PB, also popular pearl, but it had different bridge, the kind of monorail bridge, and I think Bernacle pickups. No, DiMarzio's. A very similar guitar, so I guess they didn't put this one on the European market because there was one that was already there, and maybe it didn't sell well or something like that. Again, kind of Indonesian regular series for US is 421EX. In some way similar to that black guitar I show, because it has this triple binding, but it has a fixed bridge and this kind of fade from red to black. So there are not many, but there are like a few differences between the US and European line, mostly models that show up in Europe early, but there are a few others new. Let's look at RGAs. We have only two in Europe. It's a 742 FM in the transparent gray flat. We had that model in different color in earlier years. RGA is basically RG with the arched top. They initially came with the only fixed bridge, but then the trem models show up at some point. And another one is 42 HPQM, so quilted maple top and high performance series, which is usually Indonesian guitars that have some high-end features, usually pickups or bridge or something. This one has DiMarzio pickups, so which is not very common in Indonesian guitars. Yeah, so on the American side we have those two models, but we also have the RGA 42 with the trem. Looks like the same model with the trem. And this one, that's kind of nice Axion label RGA. So it has fusion edges, I guess. Yep. And the shallower S-locks. I really like this kind of metallic orange eclipse thing. And the black matte top. Oh, the whole back is metallic orange. Back and sides, and those cutaways. That looks cool. And Axion label is fairly affordable, so those are Indonesian made guitars. Also the dots are like on one side to the other, which kind of works, because usually on the lower frets you play like chords, and then when you solo it's usually on the high end strings, so the markers are there where your fingers are at. Interesting. RGD now. RGD is pretty pronounced this year. You could see them actually on the cover of the news, or like 2 or 3 guitars are RGDs, and there's this kind of Axion with the flip-flop color. So seems like Ibanez is heavily investing in that series, and it's been very popular in the metal community. RGD series are basically RG series of those bevel cuts on the top and the deeper cutaways, and they're 26.5 inch long, so they're basically baritone scale. So they work very well in the bit lower tunings. So we have the Prestige 4000 series, which is very similar to our last year model that was also 7-string. Also had this rich light top on the exposed wood, but had a trem and a mahogany body. And I think with the ash body, this rich light is, I think, looks like it's blue stained. It looks really well. It doesn't have a trem, it has a fixed bridge, and it's also monorail bridge, which, for example, is also visible on FR 800 last year and on this new Japanese J-line RG I mentioned last video. Seems like Ibanez is going more and more into this thing. And I read that it helps for intonation because you can space them at higher distances, so I guess with the longer scale has even more sense. But also it stops the interference between strings because they're not like mechanically connected. It's a really cool model made in Japan, available for the US also. Alright, another one is Axion label, and this one has a black gloss top and this kind of midnight tropical rainforest that has this color gradation. It kind of looks like a flip-flop color, but I think it's just a fade. So it has active Fishmans. It has again this monorail bridge I mentioned. This is 6-string, 26.5 inch as all RGDs. I'm not like ecstatic about it, but there's nothing wrong here. Another RGD, this is a barrel top, and this is his kind of like multiple woods on the side, like they're a sandwich of a couple of pieces of wood, so usually quite visible on this bevel situation. I don't like barrel tops. I think they look like, I think I mentioned it like week, it just looks like furniture from communist Poland, and I don't think they look good on the guitars. That's just my opinion, and you may have your own and like other things, and that's awesome. I'm happy that there are guitars that fit what you like, and that's awesome. I think interesting is they pick those pickups with like kind of camo. They hide very well. It looks kind of cool. The fretboard also works with the, like, it's very consistent visually. So for that reason, I you know, I think it's well done, but it's not something I like visually. And another barrel top, this kind of deep seafloor thing with again exposed wood on the bevels. This has like Gibraltar standard bridge. I think it's maple neck, but it's roasted, so it's like, you know, darker. Another one that I don't particularly like. I think there's one more model in US, and this is this with the green sides. Oh, okay. I think it's very similar to that orange RGA from the European line with, no, it was again American line that we didn't get in Europe. So very similar style. The black, the sides and the back are painted in the color, this time like green, and the top is gloss black or maybe flat black. This is cool. I like this. I like the orange one, and I like this one. All right, S Series. Let's go to Europe, and we have only this one. 761 HSS, so it's always a plus on my side. Natural blonde kind of finish, reminds me of like Herman's Lee model, the lower one, Gen 8. It had this monkey grip here, but it's also like this maple top guitar with this really blonde color. I need to dig more into S Series. I haven't had the S Series guitar for quite a time now. This is nice, but I like this Paul Wagoner model more. But if you look at the US, they have like a couple others models. There's like this seafoam green model 561, again HSS with the black hardware. I think it looks really nice. I wonder why we don't get that in Europe. And this is 1070, which I have a feeling was in previous years, and I was right, it was blue one. So this is like this white frost. It has a poplar barrel, so you know, I'm just gonna skip it, not my thing. AZ happens to be the same lineup for the US and Europe. So we have the Martin Miller 7, and we have two 7-string guitars, 2402 plus 7 for the 7-string. This is the model that we had previously, 2402, and it's just 7-string version of it. And 2404, so basically 24 strings HSS with pickguard. This we didn't have. It's very similar to Tim Hanson model. So yeah, this is 24 frets, HSS, 7-string, really nice, black on black. This works great. And then we have like new N series AZ, so they have like an N suffix. I read, I think on Japanese website, it stands for like Neo Fusion, and those are a bit more classic looking NZs, so like more like you know, old school kind of Fenders. They have lower output pickups, they have like tortoise shell pickguards, and they also have compound radius neck, so they're not super flat as like 80s Ibanez and the AZs also, but they are a compound from 228 to 305 millimeters, which compared to other AZs, 305, which is also not very flat for Ibanez, but they have like a more rounded neck in the lower frets and more flat in the high end. I know a few people complained that the AZs had like too high output pickups for what those guitars represent. So I think this is like the opening the AZ series for like whole other branch of players. And then there is like Gios and Mikros. So we get two more micro models. So there's short scale in Europe that are not mentioned on the US website. Those are really fun guitars. Like I mentioned about it when I talked about the Paul Gilbert model like half a year ago. but they're really fun. You can do like 7 fret stretches and really weird chords and so on, so it's really fun. Gios are, you know, the most affordable guitars, and when you look at Ibanez forums and groups, they're kind of not mentioned because, you know, real fanboys talk about like Chinese guitar or whatever. But I think they're a very important part of the Ibanez lineup because they're quite often the first Ibanez people get. They're kind of, you know, they're like gateway drug into Ibanez world. So it's always happy to see some guitars that are nice looking, that people will pick up and, you know, want to play guitar and learn guitar and get better, and then, you know, their next better guitar will also be Ibanez. So we have this GRGR, so RG with the prefix G for Gio and suffix R for the reverse headstock, with black flat, really cool. A lot of young metal players will dig that. Fixed bridge, which is very important because it's simple, and, you know, it's probably not the best idea to buy your first guitar with tremolo. There is a left-hand version of a similar guitar, but with like a walnut flat color. Doesn't have pickguard and has a double humbucker also. There is a poplar barrel for those people who like poplar barrel in the aqua burst. There's also some gradation for US market with the single locking tremolo. And we get the GAX back in the European market. I talked more about AX series in a video about 7-string guitars. The GAX 70 or 30, depending on years, what was in the early 2000s like the most sold Ibanez guitar. They show up every now and then, like with 1 or 2 models, and then disappear. So I'd be curious to see how those do in the market. I'm gonna mention basses just a bit. So we have EH basses, or like those headless basses that show up last year, and we have I guess some new colors, but also those with the suffix S are short scale. So basically the same idea, but shortened scale. From instead of 34 inches there, I think probably 30 inches. And there's multi-scale one. It's also cool. I think it works with this headless bass. I don't like how Ibanez figure out the multi-scale guitars headstock kind of joint. There's like this piece of rosewood that like doesn't do anything. It just doesn't look cool, and it works well on those guitars. There's a lot of new colors for SR series, probably some new models. I'm very unfamiliar with the baseline, so I'm probably not gonna dig into it right now. Unless you say you're very interested, I will look into this. I really like those kind of ash sandblasted things happening here. This looks really cool. So yeah, yay for ash, nay for poplar barrel for me. So I like a lot of this new ash thing happening in the bass lines. Another thing about basses is that RGB showed up in US. There also, when I talked about them previously in some news, there was some like questions, will they ever show up in US? And I was like, oh, okay, so it's only European news again. But again, like with the 565 and Paul Gilbert, they just show up at the beginning of the year. So they're officially available in the US now also, which is cool. We'll be making video about this because I'll have one available soon to look at. So again, I wasn't very efficient with my editing, and this video was supposed to go out on Monday, 18th of January, which is yesterday, I hope. And then Ibanez dropped a whole new set of models. So I'm not gonna make this video any longer. I'm just saying this so you know that's not all. I'm gonna make a top 5 of all those models that already been presented. And I'm gonna make another video about the Telecaster news that dropped yesterday, because I think it's interesting. Maybe we'll go through the whole history of a relationship between Ibanez and the T-shaped guitar. I think it's a good idea for a video. So without any further ado, this is my top 5 from the 2021 lineup as of 1st January, without the new updates. On the 5th place is AZ24027, and generally I think 7-string AZs. I like how this idea is a bit messing with the concept as 7-string being generally predominantly metal guitar, because AZs are definitely not a metal guitar, but I would still like the metal the crap out of this 24027. On the 4th place I'm gonna put the FRM 300, the purple guitar from Paul Gilbert. It's Iceman but reverse, it's purple, it's cool pickup configuration, I like it. On the 3rd place I'm gonna put Paul Wagoner's model, because I really like this white stained ash body. I think it looks really cool. On the 2nd place I'm gonna put this Prestige RGD with the reverse headstock, fixed bridge, rich lap top, 7-string. Really cool guitar. It's definitely one of my favorite. But on top, I couldn't decide, so I'll have 2 models. And both of them are like an element of like 90s nostalgia to Ibanez. First is RG6 PKAG, which brings back these memories of the Red Beach model. And of course 565, which I think is so far the coolest release of the year. And I'm really happy about it. So thank you for joining me on that trip to dig into 2021 lineup. As we know already, it's not all, so as I said, I'm gonna make another video to dig into the whole Telecaster story. It looks like it's gonna be an amazing year for Ibanez. Like the first release was like, yeah, those are cool, but maybe not amazing. The yesterday's releases are very exciting, and I know there's more coming, so it's really cool. If you want to dig more into 565 story, check out my previous video about like December news, and see you in the next video. Thank you.